I like it.
I've never had to do Google Hangouts in any other classes.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
I've had to do Google Hangouts, but we never were told to open with a prayer. So I thought that was pretty cool. Which I don't know why we just didn't open with a prayer in other classes.
Right.
Because the classes on campus, they open with a prayer. This is like our little class.
Yeah, that's true.
Good. So, this week is a little bit different, I think, than other weeks because there's not so much content. It's just more about our group and our dynamic and our norms. So I think first we'll go through the first question that's from your personal experience, what have been key behaviors in effective teams? So if we can just talk about some things that have made our past team experiences good, then I think that's a good starting point.
All right. These were like questions that were already kind of written out, right? I think I filled some out.
Yeah, they're the same questions that we did the discussion board post on.
I called the teacher and talked to him about it because I'm like, this is so confusing. So he says you can post it if you're comfortable with that. You don't have to post it, but it's just what we're going to be discussing. So it's really just to get you prepared for these meetings.
Okay, so we don't have to make that post.
So you don't have to make the post. That's the way I understood it, and I said it back to him. So, and he told me that on the last post that I said, are we supposed to answer the questions here? Or are we doing it in the meeting? Like, what are we doing? So that's what he told me. So
okay.
There you go.
Good to know.
Thanks for being thorough, Patricia.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So let's put this out here because I actually have ADHD, and so sometimes I need to call and get further clarification because I'm like, okay, I'm so lost because when they have me do so many steps, I get really confused and I feel like, oh my gosh, this is contradicting information. I don't know what to do. So
and you'll end up thinking about it like all day about that one thing.
Yeah. And I get OCD like a crazy pants, and I'm like, this I want to do it right. I have to do it right. But so that's why I called them. I'm like,
well, I'm glad you're in our group then. That means we won't do anything wrong.
Yeah, right. That's why I'm always like,
Which I'm usually like the side of like, I'll just wing it and hopefully this is right. And
yeah.
But,
yeah.
Well, it was confusing because it says to post on the discussion board, but then we talk about the same questions.
Right. And then on another one, it says that you don't post it. And so he said that he went on and read it, and he's like, yeah, that's really confusing. So he was going to actually contact whoever to fix it.
Yeah. And it also, in another place, it contradicted itself just about the prayer. If you're supposed to say it before or after you start the recording.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not a big deal, but it just shows that there's some things that are a little confusing in this course.
Yeah.
So I think that in good teams, understanding what you're supposed to do is really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, that's the foundation, I guess.
So in my post, I did post. So I don't know if you guys already read it. So I might be just repeating myself. Okay, that's good. So I'll just tell you what it was. So I talked about I've been in lots of groups, obviously, throughout my entire high school, college career. And some of them were really bad experiences where I felt like I was doing all of the work and everybody else got credit for my work. And it was really frustrating. And then I had especially one experience was exceptionally good. And that was when I was going to BYU. I went to BYU for like 2 semesters. And I was taking an advanced writing class. And our teacher divided us into groups according to our interests. And the thing was, according to our majors, actually it was. And I was an elementary education major at the time, and there were no other elementary education majors in there. So she kind of just grouped together the people who were different. They didn't have majors that were the same. And so, I mean, our majors were completely different, and everybody else had pretty much the same majors. And so I thought, okay, well, we'll just see how this works. And it was the best group I've ever been in. And I don't know, it was just, I think we were just all hard workers, and we communicated really well. Our meetings were efficient, but we also just laughed and had fun and were able to throw ideas out without feeling like we were going to be judged. And then we divided up the work, went home, and we all did our work.
Yeah.
And it was so great. I've never been in a group like that.
And I think that's the biggest key, is that you could count on each other, and you knew that the work was going to be done, and it was equal work, but also because you did have different, backgrounds and interests. I think that the paradigm, I don't know if I say that right. Everybody has different perspectives. So it's kind of cool and interesting to hear it from, oh, well, that's a different point of view that I might not have thought of.
Yeah, right. And I felt like they were so much smarter than me, but they didn't judge me for not understanding things, and they didn't make me feel stupid when I asked questions. And I thought, and I ask a lot of questions. My husband makes fun of me for it. He says that I don't think any question is stupid. And I ask some questions that some people think are stupid. But it was really nice that they were really helpful. It was a good atmosphere.
Yeah, and you guys were all misfits too, so you had something in common.
Exactly.
I guess just from work-wise in school, I think just having fun together at work. I think I helped start. It was a few friends and we started a marketing company, and we had a foosball table, and we played like 2 hours of foosball every day. And it was mandatory to play foosball. Sometimes we had a lot of work to do. And that was the most fun, and I felt like we got so much work done too, because when we were done playing foosball, we're like, oh shoot, now we got to get our work done. So we're like so focused on work that we were just kind of busting it out.
It's like you had the time separated. This is fun time, and this is work time. So you got the job done.
Yeah, we'd get in trouble if we didn't play foosball usually. But we kind of made fun. We would make fun. We also like joked around and stuff too. We'd be like kind of harsh, but kind of in a joking manner, and everybody knew we were kind of like meant well, and we grew up together too, so we kind of knew each other and stuff.
That's nice. I think in my experiences that everyone had a clear defined role. So if there was a question, you would know who to talk to. And no matter who you ask, like the right hand and the left hand knew what the other was doing, and they worked in accordance together. And, that you weren't getting all these different, oh, no, you do it this way. No, you do it this way. And you're like, hold on, who's right? And again, to be able to count on other people, knowing that they're going to be working just as hard as you are. And that, it's fun, that you have fun. You can be sarcastic. You can be yourself and still get stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
So groups. And I have a hard time because I do talk a lot, and I'm loud, and I interject, and I don't mean to, but, sometimes I know it annoys people. And so it makes me really uncomfortable. So that's really hard for me. So having these meetings like this is really hard for me because I feel really uncomfortable doing it.
Don't.
So
I think we all do.
It takes me a while.
No, I totally understand that. I'm the type of personality that likes to talk too. And so if I interrupt people or anything like that, I'm sorry. And you can point it out to me, and I'll try to stop.
You just get excited. And I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you forget about your idea and then it's
Yeah.
gone. Then you can't think of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that train is gone.
But yeah, I think also another good element is when everybody's committed to the success of the project. I
Mhm.
think when people are like, I don't really care, you know, Madison's going to do most of the work and we're going to get a good grade anyways. You know, you're like, whatever, you know. But if you're like, if you care about Madison and you don't want her to like spend hours doing it, and we would all share the load, it's so much easier for everybody to.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I had a group in my last semester that there were 4 of us in the group. One never showed up, and the 3 of us just rocked it, and we loved it because we would just text each other and say, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and then everybody would submit it and we communicated, and it was awesome. And it actually one of our group members lived in Alaska and they had that huge earthquake. And so, you know, I was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And was just checking on her. And she's like, thanks. That really meant a lot that, you know, you thought of it, but it's scary. But having that kind of group where like we never talked in real life, but we counted on each other and we were able to communicate in whatever form that we needed to.
All right, we moving on?
Yep.
Okay, so the first question was, what do group norms have to do with effective team building? What would you say your current B321 group norms include? Unspoken and spoken norms. Are they healthy group norms? If not, what could be changed? Now, for this question, we haven't been a group for very long.
I know, like, it's a little early for that.
So I
a little
think
early for the BTR.
yeah. So I think it's kind of hard to talk about what our group norms are, but is there anything that you noticed in the last meeting that could turn into norms?
Besides babies crying? No. I'm
Yeah. I'm like, I can hear my son right now.
No. I'm just kidding.
That was so funny.
Let's see.
I know. I don't know. It's too early.
Well,
yeah,
I think
it's too early.
one thing that I noticed was that everybody talked. I didn't feel like anybody overshowered. What am I saying? Overshadowed, not showered. Anyone else? And so I thought that was good. That's a good norm.
Mm-hmm.
That up.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about, I was just looking at my answer and I was thinking about effective teams. Like if there's like if everybody's like joking around and some people take offense to sometimes like joking, like that's non-productive because they're going to be more offended than it's not going to motivate them. It's going to like demotivate them. So
sometimes I forget you guys can see my face and the way I react. And I'm like, totally thinking of moments of, you know, things happening that you're like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's true because not everybody has the personality that you can be sarcastic or joke or.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I think it's important that we do speak our minds, that we're not afraid to say if we disagree about something, that we're not just going to say yes, yes, agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
talk about what we really think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like joking around. It's almost like joking around with an engineer is a lot different than joking around with like a comedian or something.
Yeah.
You know, like
Mm-hmm.
you just gotta knowing your audience and things like that.
Amen. That's very true.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on since we don't have much about our group norms yet. I think we can touch back on that in later meetings, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
How does psychological safety in a team increase overall effectiveness? What are the roles of communication and empathy in creating psychological safety?
for me, just thinking about how I react, if I am so worried about what everybody's going to think, or that I'm going to say the wrong thing, or that I'm annoying people, I'm so worried about that I forget about the whole purpose of what we're actually supposed to be talking about or thinking about. And it really, stubs the creativity, because you're so worried about something else. And whereas to be able to bounce ideas off or have a disagreement, and that's okay to have a to have a safe disagreement. There you go. So that's, I don't know, I just think how much better I function if I feel safe.
Mm-hmm. I think people share more too overall. Just like you'll just say what's on your mind and your viewpoint, and it might change after you say it out loud and it sounds dumb or it sounds good. Or
I say a lot of dumb stuff out loud. Maybe not.
So I liked in the reading how they talked about how they were throwing out so many random dumb ideas, and that as they were doing that, they might have said an idea that they thought was dumb, but it was actually a really great idea, And so if you're not scared to say things, then you're going to be a lot more effective, because you'll be willing to share the things that you might not have otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Some of the best ideas come from being silly at the beginning.
So this week's chapter 7, effective habits of highly effective people, or whatever. Oh yeah. That's this class, right? I'm just making sure. It's begin with the end in mind. Is that this week's? Okay.
This
so I think go ahead.
I think I'm ahead. I'm confused.
Yeah, I started to get ahead too, I think.
Okay.
An accident.
Okay.
Yeah.
First things first. First things first is next week, right?
I thought first things first was this week, so.
Let me go grab my book. I'll be right back.
I can pull it up right here. Let's see. Maybe not. Just kidding.
Okay, so this week is put first things first.
Oh, first things first. Okay. You were right.
Oh my gosh, I lost you guys and I don't know where you're at.
I'm right here.
Marco!
Oh.
Okay, there you are.
So I guess it was talking about like the scheduling out for the week and stuff.
The quadrants.
Yeah, the quadrants. What were you saying, Jim?
I was thinking begin with the end in mind. I guess that's last week's. But the way to tie that in is if everybody has the same goal when we're working together as a group, we will be more effective because we're all channeled in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I think establishing the goal or the end goal and everything like that is important, because then we're all on the same page and we're working together towards the same destination.
Mm-hmm. And then even with this week's reading, if you have that goal, then you're able to put it into action in the meetings when you're talking about things. And so instead of just figuring out what you're going to do today, you're figuring out what it is you want to do in the future, what you want to do with your life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay.
I think some people guard their thoughts too. Mm-hmm. For certain groups, do they deserve this thought of mine? Because I think it's actually a good thought. I don't know.
Should I subject them to that?
Working, if I'm gonna work for somebody and he's CEO and I've given him ideas or something and he's totally been blown me off. I'm like, forget you. I'm not gonna give you another idea. You're not gonna even. I don't know. I think our ideas in our mind are precious, and so we just have to. If someone's like willing to entertain our ideas, then we give them more ideas.
That's a great point. It makes me think about like missionary work. When you have really good set of missionaries, then you're going to be more willing to give them referrals
That's a good point.
You think that they're going to take care of your friend.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're not good missionaries, you don't want to give them referrals because who knows what they're going to say to your friend.
Yeah.
You know?
If you have them over for dinner and they like embarrassing to have over for dinner, then you're not gonna.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been through painful missionary dinners, and you're like, yeah, I'm not inviting anybody over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's kind of the same where if you have this great idea that you think is gold, you give it to your boss and he acts like you're dumb, then that's it's gonna diminish your self-worth, and it's gonna make you not want to share anything else with your boss. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, are we done with that one?
Yeah.
Moving on. Okay. So I think instead of talking about how sharing personal experiences and being vulnerable can influence the team dynamic, maybe we can just share something.
Okay.
Are you guys good with that?
Yep.
I don't know what to share, so you guys can start.
Okay, I have one that's funny when I was reading it. It's not funny, my gosh. It's not funny. Well, I've been vulnerable, man. I told you about my
ADHD. That's already
my crazy pants. So I actually last year was diagnosed with cancer. And this week has been miserable because I am going in for more testing to make sure that I don't have any more cancer. So on Monday and Tuesday, I went in and got shots, and they made me really sick. So I've been miserable this week. And today I leave in about 30 minutes to go to the hospital to get a radioactive iodine injection to get ready, because then on Thursday and Friday I go in for full body scans. But I was like, that's funny. I'll be like, I have cancer. Booyah.
Yeah, my cancer. Boom.
Beat that.
Well,
now you make all of ours seem little.
Yeah. Why
My toe hurts.
So what type of cancer did you have?
That's funny.
What type of cancer did you have?
Thyroid cancer. You can barely see my scar. So I had lost 70 pounds. And one morning I was sitting like this on my mom's bed, and she's like, your neck is big. I'm like, thanks, Mom. And she's like, no, like you have something on your neck.
Jerk.
So, yeah. So
I can't tell I lost 70 pounds.
I know. So I actually had a big lump on my neck that we had never noticed before. So I had to do a bunch of testing, and it was really irritating. And then I ended up having to have surgery because they have to remove the thyroid to test it to see if it is cancer. And so they took out the half that the cancer was on, found out it was cancer. So I had to go back in within a few days and have another surgery to remove the other side. So
you don't have a thyroid?
I have no thyroid. It's gone.
So now you just have to take pills
for you
to regulate it all.
Yep. So the reason why these shots made me so sick is I've been hyperthyroid, and then these shots make you hypothyroid. So it went from boom to boom, and it's miserable. So.
Well, it seems like you're doing great.
I'm doing fine, except for the freaking gaining the weight back. That ticked me off.
Yeah. You're like,
sorry.
I know. I always wondered that when people do that. Like, can you bump it back up? Can you?
I know.
Give me the right pills. These are the wrong ones.
I know. Actually, what's funny is I'm supposed to be losing weight because I'm hyperthyroid, but it makes you really hungry, and I'm like, eat all the things.
Oh man.
I've gained it all back. My feelings are delicious.
Oh my
That feels great.
goodness. My brother-in-law had a hyperactive thyroid and they're killing it with radiation.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I would love a hyperactive thyroid. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
But they
Except
don't
you
understand.
really crummy, so that's not fun.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, Jim, can you top that?
It's definitely not top that. Huh. I'm trying to think now.
You like to travel. I watched your
Yeah.
video, and that's really cool. You've been to a
Yeah,
cool place.
it's been kind of recent stuff, just traveling and things like that. But let's see. Oh, I can say, all right. So part of the travel was to Thailand because I got married for the second time. So I'm on my second marriage.
Okay.
My wife now doesn't have any kids. But I have 3 kids. And
So did you
we
get
travel a
married
little
in
bit.
Thailand?
No, we got married in San Diego.
Okay.
And that was a lot of fun. San Diego Temple, and then we left to Thailand, and we actually like missed our flight to Thailand.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, that would be
Yeah,
awful.
it was horrible, and it caused so much tension, like in the beginning of our marriage.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
And it was both of our faults, but we just underestimated the time it took to get from San Diego to Los Angeles, and with a 2-hour, because it's international, you have to be there for 2 hours early, and we were like an hour and a half early, and we missed. They wouldn't let us go.
Oh my god.
But it ended up working out because we went the next day. We left the next day, or we left that night, and we got to stay in Beijing for 12 hours, and we went to the Great Wall of China.
Oh, cool.
And had fun there. So it worked out in the end. One less day in Thailand, one more day in
I
China.
take it. That's cool.
So
Well, maybe it
that's
was
a little bit.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
So is that hard for you? Like, was it hard for your kids to get used to having a new woman in the house?
Yeah, a little bit. There's still kind of, you can tell there's a little bit of you're not my mom kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And my new wife, she's very like type A, like very like controlling everything. So it's kind of interesting, but because they'll kick back at her sometimes if she's too controlling.
Yeah. How old are they?
They're 10. Hold on, their birthdays are like real close. So 10, 12, and 12, but one's about to be 13. So
those are
10,
hard
12, and
ages.
13. Yeah, the 13-year-old's like really becoming like a teenager now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's getting real.
Oh my god.
Cell phones are getting taken away, and I'm like,
yeah. Oh my goodness.
I'm not a bit. Just the lesson as your kids get older: don't let your kids have cell phones until like. If they do, make it so they can just call on it and text on it. Otherwise, they'll spend every waking moment on the stupid phones.
This little jar here is the we just made it. It's called the respect jar. And if you're nasty to mom and there's coins in here, you don't get to play on electronics. So for every coin, it's a day.
So there's one coin in there right now?
There's 2 of them because she was being nasty last night. So like I'm not even playing, I'm just putting coins in the jar. Forget this.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a good idea.
Little stinkers.
Yeah. But yeah, so far it's been great though. Like marriage wise, like amazing. She's an amazing person. So.
And how long have you guys been married?
Almost 2 years.
Okay.
But my last wife, she kind of went inactive really soon after. She hadn't been a member for very long, and it was really hard just to kind of live with somebody in living a separate life, and you're just like,
Yeah.
but so that was like for 10 years, and then I was just like, you know what, I'm kind of done with it. It was just like,
my husband and I are separated right now, and just thinking about all the things that you've had to deal with it's hard, integrating someone else and the kids kicking back. And Emmerich is really young, so he wouldn't be as bad, but Morgan is, the first thing she said is, "Are you getting married to someone else?" Not right now, no.
Maybe.
I'm never getting married.
Yeah, right.
But our actually next week is our 14-year anniversary. So
okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's a tough time doing that.
It's crummy.
Doing that. But it gets better.
Yeah.
Whichever way it goes, it'll figure itself out.
Yeah. Just keep doing what you're supposed to do and things work out.
Yeah. As long as you're praying through the whole process. I don't have any experience. But, yeah. So actually, my husband travels a lot for work. And so right now he's been gone for a week and a half now in Minnesota. And so he's getting back on Friday. So it'll be 2 weeks total. And so that's pretty hard. But I have a lot of family around and stuff, so they help me when he's gone. But it's mainly just hard because of school, and having a 1-year-old is hard to be alone and doing homework and housework and everything that has to get done. But
I'd say I'm hiring somebody.
Yeah.
Nanny, sweetie. But
are you taking a full load, Madison?
I am taking 9 credits
right
now, so that it's the most I've taken since he was born. And my husband's gone more now because Carter is getting bigger, and so he's not having as much leeway not going on trips and stuff. Because as soon as he was born, he was not going on as many trips because they were taking sympathy on me.
Now that's gone.
Yeah, now he's too big to have sympathy, so I need to have another one. Yeah, and then next month he's going to be going to Korea for just a week in Korea, which is a lot shorter than usual. So, yeah, but it's...
What does he do for work?
He's an engineer for Hyundai, the car company.
Okay.
And so he does testing. It's mainly in the coldest part of the winter and the warmest part of the summer. He goes to the coldest places and the hottest places to test.
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
So this is a busy season.
Like a cool job.
Yeah,
besides the traveling.
Yeah. Yeah, he likes driving cars. So
yeah.
for him. But
That's
yeah,
cool.
the travel's the only thing that's hard. But I can't really think of anything else to share. I'm kind of boring. So
yeah, that's gotta be tough though. I mean, to do school and kids.
Yeah.
I'm sure Patricia, you're doing the same thing.
I'm
kind of lucky because my kids are gone half of the time, and I get them half of the time. So
yeah,
I say lucky now, but I mean, like,
it's
I
just
focus on
that
school
you have
and I get
time.
it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm taking 6 classes right now because I'm trying to graduate in July.
Yeah.
That is a lot, though. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. But
How
I
many
find out
credits is that, like 18 or something?
Yeah, it's like 17. But I find out I'm doing like better because I'm working less. I'm trying not to work.
Okay.
I'm on my way to like work sort of too, and picking up kids and stuff. But yeah, I find out I do better in classes when I'm more focused and I'm not like trying to work and do school but
Mm-hmm.
I was taking a full load last semester and I got really, really sick. I had bronchitis and sinus infection and pneumonia, and it was like for 2 months, literally one thing after the other. And my doctor's like, you have got to cut back on your classes. No, I'm fine.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Now, how many classes are you taking, Patricia?
So I'm only doing 6 credits now this
good.
semester, with going in with all the testing and everything so crazy that I'm like, okay, I'll take 6.
So how long have you been in remission
What?
from your cancer?
Oh, I thought you said on your mission.
In remission. I'm not on a mission.
I had my thyroid removed last February. So this will be the first full checkup that I have since having it removed.
Okay, so you never had to do any chemotherapy or anything?
I opted out of it because I could have done radiation because it did get into my bloodstream. But they're finding that the chances of reoccurrence are really small. So you have the option to say, no, I don't want radiation, because radiation, the side effects of it can be worse than the benefits of it. And I'm already at high risk for things that radiation puts you at high risk for, different types of cancers that run in my family. And so I opted out of it. So this will be kind of a, let's see if that worked.
Hopefully.
And that it's today that you have an appointment?
Today I go in for the radioactive iodine injection.
Well, you'll have to let us know how everything goes.
It'll be fine. Yeah. Today I'm most nervous about this injection because I don't know how my body's going to react. I always seem to have these weird reactions, but anyway.
So have you been like working ahead, doing your homework so you're not going to have to do it?
Kind of. I have most of the stuff done this week. I don't think it's a very small amount that they're giving me, but I have gotten done most of my homework for the week. And what, I don't remember what I was going to say. Yeah. Oh well.
Well, that's good. At least you don't have too crazy a load. I guess you planned on that though.
Exactly. Pre-plan. Yeah. Oh, and it'll be fine. I'll be fine.
And that's kind of in the 7 habits. It was kind of talking about that too, how you have to put your priorities first.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now, taking a lot of classes isn't your priority. It's
exactly
staying healthy and being strong and being with your family and all of those things. So that's good.
Yeah.
Sounds like
craziness.
All right. So the last question is, what can you do as an individual to initiate effective team behavior?
Be nice.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think being respectful of other people's opinions and listening and not interrupting, which I have a problem with sometimes. And to stand up for yourself if you feel like people aren't respecting you. And then that'll kind of help, because if they're not being respectful to you, they're probably not being respectful to your other teammates either. So I think that would help help the other people on your team also.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like just sharing things that are kind of like personal, like we just did. I'm like, I already feel closer to you 3 than you two. But yeah, I think that's like, I've heard people sharing things like that, but I mean, that's just, something you don't share too often that you're like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm sad that our other
hopefully they still think I'm normal.
I know. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I
feel
definitely feel
normal.
closer to you guys now.
Yeah. It's nice. It's just always nice to know who's behind just the name and the voice. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe once our other teammates respond, we can do a quick get to know you with them in the beginning of our next meeting or something.
Yeah.
So they don't feel left out.
It's a good plan.
Yeah. And another thing, a couple things I wrote down were just find ways to serve people or just help them out in any way you can, work wise or thing. And I think thank you cards. I feel like people are super grateful for thank you cards. It's something I'm like learning as I get older. I'm like,
Because people don't do it anymore.
yeah, people don't do it. I mean, and it costs like 50 cents to like, or maybe like $1.50 to get a cheap card or something and just say thank you and send it off. And because I know my kids, they have like letters and things that my wife or I've written them, and they like hide them and like keep them in their drawer next to their beds. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, you still have this? Like, so I feel like meeting people and like sending them a letter, even though it's like $1.50, could make a relationship a lot easier.
Yeah. I was just talking to my friend the other day, and she was talking about something that I did for her. And I'm like, that was not a big deal to me. Like, it was like, whatever. But to this day, and that was, I mean, Morgan was a baby. So this was 8 years ago. And it really means a lot to her. And I'm like, well, it's amazing what small little gestures of service or gratitude do for other people that you don't know how much it impacts them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are great points. Yep, I think that's it. You guys have anything else?
Amen.
I think we're done. Thank you guys for sharing so much and for being open. And I'll post this video to the discussion board so that, are you guys okay with our other group members hearing our stories?
Oh yeah, for sure. They'll probably be boring to them anyway. But.
They're like not even watching it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Okay.
So who wants to do it next week? I guess maybe Patricia, you up to doing it?
I guess I'll do
it. Have you done it before? I could show you.
No, I'll be fine. I can figure it out. And
okay.
if
I think there's like YouTube videos on how to do it. It's a little tricky though. I will admit that, like, if you get kind of caught up in the wrong Google Hangout thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So just if you go through YouTube, and it's a little bit confusing because the instructions that we were given in the course are outdated.
Okay.
So I would look at a YouTube video online or something that's more up to date.
I may make a mock one between the three of us, just so that I know that I'm doing it.
You can even do it just with yourself.
Oh, okay.
And you can just figure out how to invite people and stuff. So if we're not available, but if you need extra help, then I can help too.
Okay.
And I think from what I've learned is you have to be on it to open it. I've tried to schedule them, but I've never been successful in scheduling them. So just you can learn from my hours of mistakes, and try not to. Yeah, it's hard to schedule it. I haven't figured it out, but I'd love to.
Yeah, I haven't figured out scheduling it either. I just
know you have to like open it.
Well, now it's a challenge.
You're gonna schedule it.
Like, well, that was easy.
Like, I will show them how to do it now.
Yeah. I'll make a little tutorial.
Oh, mama.
That's funny.
Cool. Yeah, let us know if you have any questions.
Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.